Hello and welcome to Steven University. This week we watched the episode titled Marble Madness. As always, or as always now, from this point forward, Chris, what was it about?
This episode, Dan, glad you asked. Connie and Stephen are having a chat about a book series. It's weird because I've heard the phrase "which is familiar" and not known what it meant either. But there we go. I got no resolution to that, which is a pity. And then it is interrupted by the evil robots previously seen. So they go on a wild goose chase investigating that. And eventually Stephen says, yo, let's not destroy, let's follow. So they follow it. It takes them to the gem kindergarten. The robot unlocks itself, settles in sort of a base launch paddy type of area. And then the evil gem appears and they confront her. And Pearl gives a rather rousing speech about them being the crystal gems and protecting the Earth. Mm-hmm. And then they destroy the station. But you get the feeling that that's just going to make her mad. And we ain't going to like her when she's mad.
Was that a joke about her being green?
No, but I'm going to pretend it was. Ask me again.
Was that a joke about her being green?
Yeah, man, because she's green, so's the Hulk.
Yeah,
Clever comedy.
I see.
I do like, by the way, the last time I was talking about Stephen's maturity, and I struggled to think of an example where he hadn't been immature recently, and I was like, he gave an emotional speech about loss to Greg and Amethyst, and I was like, are we then going to feel slight contradictions whenever he's immature? And this week he's just not listening. He's just like, no, a big red dangerous button, I'll press it. So I was like, well, this is a good example. So yeah, he really doesn't listen, but he's right and wrong. Like, he's right at the beginning to say, no, stop, let's follow it. And then at the end, as comically pointed out by Garnet, he's wrong. But yeah, no, it's a weird one because it's. I mean, this is part one of a trilogy. Do you know? I'm not saying the next 3 episodes follow through, but this is the prelude. This is the Star Wars scroll in a way. It's quite hard to judge this episode because it feels like it exists purely to set up something else. Mm-hmm. But that's no bad thing, and the episodes are 11 minutes long, so more fool me to ask for too much. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I like this one. I sort of, it's interesting because I think this episode really is I kind of feel differently because I feel like this episode's a really good example of Stephen growing up, because there was a time in which he would just do everything the gem said, and now I feel like he feels confident enough to make decisions for himself. And I think in a weird way he's right, because in a situation where Peridot is going to continue to send shit to Earth and continue to do stuff on Earth, there's no way she isn't ultimately going to figure out that they're there. So why not just reveal yourself and then get some information out of it? Because she's going to find out one way or the other, ultimately. She's clearly not stopping. I mean, at the beginning of the episode, for those who don't remember, she keeps sending down these big marble robot things, and they just keep destroying them one after the other. And there's a great bit where Garnet's just like, where Stephen says, we should follow it. Let's stop destroying these things. Let's just see what it wants to do. And Garnet goes, Stephen's right. We can't just keep destroying these things. Well, we could, but I don't want to. Like, she's basically bored of doing it. And he's right there for sure, because, why not find out what it's up to? And then I think, in a weird way, I just think like his decision to reveal himself, while it seems like he's just ignoring the gems, not listening to them, I think he has listened, taking what they've said on board, and just going, you know what? I think ultimately Peridot's going to figure out we're here. I think that I think in the meantime, if she's gonna figure out we're here, we might as well get some information out of it in the meantime. So
you're slightly adding your own explanation there, because he doesn't say that. He doesn't say, no, she's gonna figure out we're here, let's just do this.
No, 100%. It's a little bit fansplaining, but that's genuinely how I see it. To me, it's like a very logical move. So I don't really see it as a complete reversal back to Stephen whining about ice cream, which is the example we use all the time, but there you go. I really like this episode because I think that it's what you said. It's the prelude. It's like this is the clear start of something bigger. Now they've been sort of revealed and are there. And also, there's some cool continuity in this episode. So she mentions the red eye scanning the planet. You may remember, like the second ever episode, Chris. There was a big red eye in the sky.
I don't remember that because it was the second episode. But cool.
It's the one they keep throwing amethyst at. Remember?
Vaguely, but it's episode 2, dude. I can't remember exactly. But
so you know where they have to go.
I trust you.
You know where they have to go get the cannon from Greg's storage. It's the first time we meet Greg.
Yeah.
And the cannon, they use the cannon to shoot the eye thing.
Yes, laser light cannon. I remember the episode title, but I don't. Yeah.
Wow.
I think we're 42 episodes in. I don't think I can get shit for not remembering a specific plot point of episode 2.
I don't know. That's a pretty big point in episode 2, but fine, sure. It's my favorite part of that episode is just that they keep just launching amethyst at it, thinking she's going to break it, and then Steven goes and gets Rose's cannon, which is what ultimately destroys it. And it's how we learn about him sort of being both his mum and like sort of a weird like reincarnation / child of his mother, which is cool. Also, this is the episode in which they reveal the title of the island from Island Adventure to be Mask Island, because it lands. Garnet goes, "It's on Mask Island," and when they warp to that island from the episode where Connie and Lars get trapped on it with Steven.
I didn't get that reference. That's cool though.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think when we recorded the podcast for that, I think I said, you'll find out later, it's called Mask Island, which isn't really a spoiler because it's just its name. Because I thought it would be helpful to our conversation about it at the time. So there's some cool continuity. Obviously, Peridot had found his crying waffle sticker on the wall.
Yes, I did get that one and like that.
Yeah, that was funny. I liked Peridot being like, there's an infestation of Stevens. Tell me, have Stevens replaced humans on planet Earth?
These bastards really don't like, humans, do they?
Yeah, they just seem to. They don't think much of. They think that it seems to be not even that they don't like them. It just genuinely seems to be that they just see them as a lower life form and irrelevant, which is almost scarier because it's like you wouldn't, people wouldn't think twice about like doing a bug bomb in their house if they had insects.
Yeah,
and that's sort of in a weird way a little bit how the gems feel about humanity, which is scary. And unlike you, I really love Pearl's moment of we're the crystal gems and we're the guardians of this planet. We're still here, which is obviously it's been sort of 4,000 to 5,000 years at least since the war, whatever it is, settled down. So you've got to assume that's like because there's been no combat on Earth and they've not been investigating it. It almost seems like the proper like full on gems like from Homeworld have sort of not forgotten about Earth but have moved on.
Yeah, but now they're going to be coming back for revenge. And
shit. I mean, certainly when Peridot talks about reporting it, so I suppose the question there is to whom.
Yeah, and what happens when she reports it.
Precisely.
I've got a theory. You want my theory?
Oh, I love a theory. Yeah, hit me up with a theory.
So my theory is that when she reports it, shit goes down.
That is a great theory.
Cheers, man.
Yeah.
Took a lot of time with it.
Yeah.
No, I think. Is it a Homeworld thing? I don't know.
So you don't know. You don't have any theories as to what might be coming.
Oh, shitloads of gems. Would be my theory, I guess. But then that doesn't really. I want to know how the rebel one that I was calling the Green Power Ranger, how she's involved.
Lapis.
Yeah, you wonder whether this one's gonna. Like, you always imagine a scenario on Homeworld where this one's like, this is happening, and Lapis is like, I'm just the gem to go, and she leads a charge of gems and stuff to wipe them out or whatever. I'm still not convinced. I'd still think, or they use the kindergarten to grow more. Because we keep going back there.
Yeah, this is like, a second or third visit? Second visit,
but they really focus on it, and maybe a charge doesn't come from space, maybe they come from Earth, from that kindergarten, and it's described in this episode as Prime Kindergarten, suggesting it's the main one. So
yeah, but the question there, I suppose, is main one in the overall state of gems, or is it Prime as in Prime on that planet?
Oh, I viewed it as Prime on that planet, Prime on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I saw it too. But I mean, you could certainly argue there's certainly wiggle room to think of it differently. I think.
What if all those big yellow boxes and like delivery places for Amazon Prime are actually kindergartens for gems, and we should see this as a warning?
Yeah, the gems are coming in real life. I really liked the dramatic. Because it starts off kind of like when they first sort of decide to just jump on top of the marble robot thing and just follow it. It's kind of like done for humor. And then there's this really brilliant shift where when it arrives at kindergarten, they all realize that whatever it's doing is really serious, except for Stephen, who is still like, yeah, this is awesome. Like he's
still like calling it buddy and stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's so clever because the gems understand the implications of it being at kindergarten is a huge astronomical, potentially Earth ending or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Humanity ending. And Stephen, having not lived through whatever that previous gem war, whatever you want to call it, was, when whatever you want to call the instance in which they stopped gems from using the kindergarten the first time round. So he's just having fun still. He's still in the woohoo, this is awesome mode. And it's a really brilliant contrast because the shadows become darker. Everything the gems are saying is really dramatic. But of course, Stephen is like just still in that place when they were in the desert, like making jokes about it and stuff. And I don't know, there's just something really powerful about that moment to me because I really like the contrast of the two because it's the innocence of Stephen having not experienced the past, and then the weight of what's happening is illustrated through the reactions of the actual gems themselves. And I found that really very effective as a scene. I really enjoyed watching that play out, especially the look on Pearl's face the whole time that they're sort of just marching through and the kindergarten is sort of passing around them. Like her expression says a lot. It's really well done.
What I also really like, and maybe this is sorry, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. This is maybe this is me not like watching a lot or appreciating a lot of animated shows, and maybe that's why I value this. Maybe actually for people that watch a lot of animation, this is just a given. But I imagine the temptation is when something happens and you're in an animated show to almost have each character react the same, but they all have when they first go to kindergarten, they all have very different looks of fear on their face. All relevant to the characters. Garnet is sort of annoyed and worried. Amethyst in particular has a really emotional reaction because of obviously her history with it, and I just thought that was really nice. In particular, her reaction was really well done.
I forgot to mention that as well. Yeah, that's absolutely another reason that scene is great. Amethyst has a very, very specific reaction because of her relationship with that place. And again, that works in the context of On the Run. So if you haven't seen On the Run, this episode, that part of this episode does not come across as powerfully at all. But it's very, very good. So yeah, on the whole, I really like this one. I think there's some cool information. There's a lot of foreshadowing of some shit going down in future, as you predicted very, very astutely, Chris. I mean, I don't know if it would be considered a spoiler for me to say you're not far off the truth there, Chris. That theory.
I worry that again people are going to think I've looked on Wikipedia because it's such an
they're going to be like, shit goes down, man. He
theory.
knows too much. He knows too much with that theory. That is, I'll confirm right now, Chris, that shit goes down is an accurate theory. Shit goes down.
Yes. I knew I was right.
Yeah. I'll confirm that one. Watch now. Somebody get really shitty.
Is there a lot of foreshadowing in it that you can see having watched the rest?
Oh yeah, tons of stuff. There's a handful of things I can't really talk about because I'd be giving away where it's going. But there are a lot of questions, for example, surrounding who she's reporting to, that sort of either there's still arguments about like exactly who, but there's information there that like you can pass and analyze and apply to future episodes as well. So yeah, it's really good. So there's a lot going on in this episode that you pick up on, especially if you're watching it a second time round. I really enjoyed it. Also, really like the fact that clearly the Spirit Morph Saga, or whatever this book series that they're reading is called, is clearly very heavily referencing his Dark Materials.
Yeah. I didn't necessarily, because I couldn't get, there was a Doctor Who episode called The Witch is Familiar, I couldn't get that out of my head, but yeah, now that I think about it, you're right. There's a lot of, taken as a bait, yeah. But is essentially his Dark Materials.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure they have familiars in Dark Materials.
They have what are they called? Hers begins with P, and they're called. What are they called? That's going to bug me. Yeah, they have an equivalent. They have the things because Will doesn't have one, but Lara does. What are they called?
Demons.
Demons. Yeah.
But
demons.
they're basically familiars.
Like
I mean, they are a clear.
Yeah. I did. Yeah. Now, yeah. I did think that when she said that, I was like, well, those are the things from like the Golden Compass and Northern Lights, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm aware I've just named the same book twice. With
is
US
it
and UK.
Is it Panta?
Yeah, Pantani or some shit
Pantaleimon. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
My favourite bit. I love those books. I want to reread them before the Book of Dust comes out, but I love that Will doesn't see his, and then he does, but he feels it leave. It's all good stuff.
Well, there you go.
Stop
we're now
watching
talking
Steven.
about something completely different. So let's
stop watching
that's...
Steven Universe, guys. Read his Dark Materials.
Yeah, there you go.
Trouble is, much like Steven Universe in its first 10 episodes, Northern Lights / The Golden Compass, you've really got to power through with that one.
But as we said last week, it is essential to understanding what follows.
Yeah, it's worth it. But I remember me and you had the same experience. We tried to start those books and eventually just powered through, and then you get to the second one and you're hooked.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Absolutely, as you used to say.
Still do sometimes.
It's rare.
We've gone way off now. Great character stuff. Great, a lot more action, more story than characters, I suppose, this week. Apart from like the nods to Amethyst and stuff, and the growth of Stephen as discussed.
I really like his thing as well about other humans, and he's like, yeah, there's loads of humans. There's my dad, there's Lars, there's Sadie, there's Jamie, and then he goes, there's Onion, I think. Like, he doesn't know that
what
Onion's
I love about
human.
that is I like to assume that's a big thing in fandom. Then is Onion human? That's a big debate.
I mean, there is some debate about what Onion. Like, there's a lot of theories about Onion. That rages on. So yeah,
that's awesome.
So there you go. I think is that the lot? Is that your lot?
Yeah, I think it's everything. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm stumped because I feel like I want to make it an awkward ending, but Chris, I just don't know how.
Why don't I do the end bit?
Oh, that'll make it awkward for sure. So I'll tell you, I'll tell you the title of next week's episode so you can.
Yeah.
It's called Rose's Scabbard.
Scabs? What? Rose's
Scabbard. It's like the thing that you put a sword in.
Saber?
Scabbard.
Scavard.
So Scabbard, and it's the sheath thing that you slide a sword. You know, when you've got like that thing on your belt and you slide your sword into it. That's called a scabbard.
Yeah, because I'm always wandering around with a sword, aren't I? But yeah, I know what you.
Well, yeah, but you see them in telly. You've seen Game of Thrones, mate. You've seen some sword and sorcery television shows.
But you didn't say when you see a. You said when you see on your belt, implying that I'm
on your belt.
Some swashbuckling or whatever it's termed.
You regularly go swashbuckling.
Yeah.
I feel like this ending has become awkward just in the fact that I've had to explain what a scabbard is.
Scabbard, right? Okay.
Scabbard.
Again, I don't think that they don't name it a lot. They're not like there's not that scene in Pirates of the Caribbean where he's like, Jack, pull your sword out of your scabbard. Like, I think it's fair that I don't know what that is.
I'm not criticising you don't know what it is. It's just I feel like me having to explain it has made this awkward by default.
It sounds like you're attacking me. It sounds like you're pulling a metaphorical sword out of your scabbard and slicing me in the head with it.
That is not what's happening, Chris.
Okay. So, I've been Chris Billingham.
I've been Dan Doolan.
And we'll see you next week for Rose's Scavard. Scavard. I don't know how to say it. There you go.
Awkwardness achieved.
You wanted awkward?
No, that was it. We did it.
Yeah.
We did it, guys.